Well, here we go again. Another great day in the life. Dog training. Well, a lot of people go, Jeff, my dog is driving me insane. And I'm like, how come? Well, they just won't stop nipping. They won't stop jumping. They won't stop barking. Well, typically, the only reason our dogs are behaving badly is because they're bored. And so, us being proactive versus reactive is highly effective when it comes to trying to train your little fur baby. So I got a fur babe behind me over here. There he is. And he's being pretty good. Now, the reason for that is he knows there's a set pattern or way to behave, and he likes to do his best to please, right? We're at that point. But there was a time that wasn't the case. And he was like extremely crazy guy. Ain't that right, Mr. Bo? It is. So the way we keep Mr. Bo from being crazy man is to give him stuff to do. So right now, he had a bone he was really enjoying for quite some time, but his bone is now over. So he's kind of like, well, what do we do now? So I'm going to go grab him. Over here, Mr. Bo. Yep. Wow. Yeah. Here he is. And this little guy right here used to be a super nipper. He was into it. But what kind of got him to change his ways a little bit is realizing that there's these fun games we can play, even if the game is as easy as, get the bone or something, right? So when the bone actually has value and it's fun and they think of it like a game, they're going to want to do it. But just like trying to get a little kid to eat their vegetables, if they are not into vegetables, the more you try, usually the less they want them. And they want to eat the stuff mom and dad has. Chocolate cake. No, whatever. But a baby's typically going to take from its mom and dad's plate. And dogs are the same way. They're like, hey, what you humans have is better. Now, when we try to give them these bones, they're like, I don't really want that bone. That bone's so boring. So part of the trick is, if they don't want it anymore, you put it up. But it's even better to put it up when you tease them first, because then they really want it. They're like, come on, give me that thing, please. Ha-ha. And so if we do that enough and you catch it just right and put it away when there's that moment of interest, they want it more actually the next time. So the game could be something as simple as, here's your bone, go chew it. But the way you turn it into a game is you got to take it when the dog's done. Now, another idea you can borrow here and use with your dog is if you happen to have stairs. Oh my goodness, you could do some amazing things where you can keep your puppy busy so they're not nipping you, and give them something to do, because oftentimes that's all they need is just something to do. So what you can do is just throw some food up the stairs. You don't even need a stay command. I mean, it's great if you had one, but hey, not getting into all that right now. And just easy stuff. So we could just throw some food up the stairs. They eat it. Eventually they'll come down. Now, you can get real smart here and put a little gate up on the top if you think your dog's just going to run up the stairs and go pee or poop or something. But then when they're done eating, they'll come back down and go, okay, what's next? And you could just go, toop, toop, toop. Now, if you're good and you have good aim, you can actually throw one piece per step, which is pretty impressive. But the other thing that you want to think of here is the more food you have there for them to find and have fun with, the more you can get something done, the more they're not nipping you. Now, you could chase them around up the stairs as they're eating and pet them, because petting them while they're eating is a great way to start conditioning them to being touched by hands without needing to nip every 5 seconds, which is pretty cool. But let's say you're not doing that. Again, you could just do something while your dog's doing something, and it keeps them from being bad because now they're not bored. They have something positive to do. But if you don't give them the something positive to do, they're typically going to find the negative thing to do. It's just how it works. And humans can be like this too. If you don't give a human healthy habits, they'll typically develop bad ones, right? So you want to develop the healthy habits very early on, or as early as you can, or if it's, it's not too late, but geez, just fix it, okay? Give that dog something to do. Now, what happens is dogs are creatures of habit. So if you start doing that same stuff all the time, they'll know what you're doing. Ain't that right, Bo? Yes. And then when they know what you're doing, It's easy for them. It's like they know, oh, okay, 7 a.m., this is where we're going to do the stairs game. Okay, at 10 a.m., I'm going to do the leave it game. Or let's say at 1 p.m., we're going to do find it. Or, 3 p.m. is where we play the come game and you come to me, or hide and seek. 5's where we go nuts with toys. And, and you don't have to do this every 2 hours or whatever. Like, you just want to be sort of kind of consistent in your rituals so that your dog doesn't create the being bad ritual. I have so many people where they wake up and they're like, as soon as I come down the stairs, that dog starts nipping me. Or another great one is, I can't even sleep because that dog just barking, wakes me up every morning. And that's okay, if your dog's waking you up because they got to use the bathroom. But oftentimes dogs could hold it a little longer, and this would choose to rather wake us out of that dead sleep because they're a little bored. So by doing this stuff with them, now they're not as bored, so they're not as bad. And then they're able to have a little downtime, right? And then when you do offer them something to chew, they're like, heck yeah, I'll take that thing. I've just been sitting here while you talk, Jeff. Heck yeah, I'll take that bone. Thanks. So I'll go ahead and set him back on his bed now that he wants his bone again. See if he's into that or not. Might be for a little while. So there he goes. All right. Yep. So the reason he's after it again is because I took it from him, right? And so whenever you take something away, it typically makes someone want it and desire it more. So then I just watch. And if it looks like at any point, he's going to leave the bed or like go cruise and do something else, that's where I might take the bone again, tease him a little bit, put it up. Now, the teasing him part is what we use to build drive. And that part's reasonably important, because if the dog doesn't have drive, as we say in the dog training world, they're not really going to want to do much for you, okay, at least not for very long. So by us stealing it, it actually creates more drive to want to do it again. And by playing the stairs game, you can use different reward levels when it comes to the food. So you could use dog food as like a tier 1. Then you could have like the sort of kind of good treats, tier 2. Then you could have like the totally awesome stuff, tier 3. But what it's going to do for you is make the game more interesting for your dog. It's like playing the lotto for humans. And so if you just throw the food randomly on the stairs and in there's like, something really yummy every now and again, it's going to encourage your dog to play more. Now, one caveat to this, make sure if you have like wood floors or like, slippery floors, that you have some sort of carpet or, even like a pillow or something soft for your dog. So if they come flying down those stairs, like, hey, where's the food? I want to play again, that they're not going to crash and burn. All right. You want to be careful there. So giving them something to do while you're doing something really works out. And then when they're bored, you give them something else to do before they get you doing stuff because they're bored, which would be, oh, I'm going to go, pee on the floor, or I'm going to go and bark out the window, or I'm going to go and start chewing your furniture, or whatever it is. So there he looked a little like he's looking for something. So I'm getting ready to steal his bone from him. See that he was too interested in other things. Now, as I went to steal it, he took it. And he looks like he's sort of interested again, but if he didn't seem interested, then that's where I might have, try to tease him, put it up, then do something else. But timing is very important when you're building drive, because the better you get at this, the easier it is to do, and then you get a bigger result and it feels great, But in the beginning, if your timing is just a little bit off, you're really not going to create the right result that you're after. So I'm going to come in here and steal Mr. Bo one more time. Whoa. And steal this thing. Here we go. And then, as soon as he goes for it, I'm going to put it up. It doesn't have to be like a huge, like him trying to lose his mind to get it, but it will develop into that if you do it right. Where typically, if you build the drive enough, as soon as the dog sees that bone, they just start barking, losing their mind. They're like, oh my goodness. And then they'll pretty much do it till you tell them to stop, which is pretty interesting. Now, the first time I really experienced something like this, I thought it was kind of nuts. But this dog had like a non-powered treadmill, is the kind you would just like run on, and it was like dog powered, right? Like if you ran on it, it'd go. If not, it'd stop. And this guy told his dog, like, run or something. I can't remember the command. The dog just started running, and me and him were talking for a while. and the dog was still running. Me and him were talking a little while longer, and the dog was still running. I was like, man, that's crazy. How'd you do that? And this was way early on when I first became a dog trainer back in 2005. And so what I realized from talking to him is that if you build the drive right, they'll pretty much just keep doing it till they can't. And this is very similar to their drive to play with another dog, right? When there's another dog that they're getting along with, they'll pretty much play till that other dog says no, right? But if they're both saying yes, they'll play till they can't do it anymore, until they have to fall asleep, use the bathroom, get something to eat, drink. Like, they'll pretty much just keep playing. If they're having fun. And that's the thing. In their nature, they just want to have fun. Now, they can't get bored in the having fun. So yeah, the bone's cool for a minute, then it's like, what else can I do? So you want to give them the other things to do. Now, one easy one, right, is if you just have some food and you put it in your palm and you start just teaching something real simple. So he's like, come on, dude, give me the food. And all I'm doing is just waiting for that moment, just in the right moment for him to back off and quit trying to get it so much. Now, I can help him with this too if he gets too intense. But right there, in that moment he kind of backed off and sniffed, I'll go ahead and give him a little bit. And this one's a little more interactive, of course, right? But here he is. He's like, wow, that's so amazing, Jeff. And then he backed off a little bit. Okay, here you go, bud. And so what this does is it really helps with the whole nippy monster jumping, the barking, because again, they're focused. They're doing something that you want them to do. And over time, if you played enough, they just know, get close to the hand, but don't try to steal stuff out of the hand, because that won't get you the food. And so it teaches them not to be rude and adjust their attitude. Why? Because dogs are just, a lot of them are very pushy by nature, and they're just going to try to steal stuff because they can. So this starts teaching them, hey, you don't got to steal. Is this making sense at all? Now, with the other hand, you can cheat and start petting and stuff. And if they get too focused on this hand, well, bam, that hand comes right back. But now you're able to pet them and not get nipped too, which is pretty awesome if you ask me. So here he backed away. And again, that's what I'm waiting for, is just for him to back up. And I don't need to say no or interrupt this. I'm just trying to give you easy stuff that anybody could do, right? So again, well, that was good. He wasn't trying to steal it. I'll just give it right away that time. Perfect. Now, what's some more fun stuff you could do with these buggers? Well, I tell you what, a lot of people are like, don't play tug of war. What a bad game. And it can be, definitely could be. But here's one of the secrets that we would always practice is if the dog wins the game of tug of war 60% of the time, that's a good recipe for kind of like a protection or guard dog, which might give you a little trouble on the listening side if it's a natural protection dog without you actually training it. Now, on the other side of things, if you're winning 60% of the time, your dog will be more likely to act like that house pet, right? And less likely to be like the crazy, nippy dog. Yeah. So what you want to do there is this. When you're playing the tug of war game, if you're worried about the dog becoming too aggressive, hey, just win, Now, you don't want to win so much the dog don't want to play. You want to make it fun for the dog and let them win occasionally. But what really works out is, hey, when that dog's tugging, they can't tug and eat. So if you want a quick, easy win, you don't want to pull it from their mouth, right? All you would do is while they're tugging, just put something in their mouth. Let's see if I got a little rope or something here that maybe he wants to tug. Let's give it a look. Let's see here. What kind of toys do we got up here, buddy? I'm not sure. Toys. We usually got a million toys. Maybe today we are running a little low. Oh, here goes one. Okay. So here goes a toy. And we'll just see if he's into it or not. He's undecided so far. He's like, I don't know, Jeff. I am in your lap. Are you sure we can play? A little nuts. And if he's not so into this one, oh, there he goes. Good job, Mr. Bo. Oh, that's good. That's good, buddy. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Good job, kid. There you go. You were doing real good there. All right, he's all done for now. But let's say he did get a nice bite on that thing. It's just as simple as bringing that food right back. Now, as they let go of the rope to eat the food, you're like, hey, good, drop it. And you've got control of that rope. And then if you just simply hold on to it where they can't get it and just wait for them to settle, typically they'll sit eventually when they're done trying to jump and bark at you, and then say, good, sit, okay, and then let them play. So good sit is rewarding what they did, calming down, sitting. The okay is the release that now you're starting the game again. It kind of makes them believe you're in control, believe it or not. It starts to make you kind of captain of your own home versus these little buggers taking over and telling you what to do. Ain't that right, Mr. Bo? So I'm going to offer him his bone again, see if he's into that. Maybe not yet. All right, it's gone. And that's how you want to do it. You just want to offer it for a second. They're not into it. Okay, cool. We'll do something else, you know. Now, you can always offer other things, but you don't want to offer them too close because then it's like a reward for not taking the last thing. Does that make sense? And you don't want to create that at all. Now, fetch is really cool, but a lot of people have the problem, well, the dog just takes the toy and goes and chews it. And that's it. And that's how my fetch works. You know, they'll chase it, but I always have to go get it and then throw it again. So there's a couple cool things you can do there. And one of which, it's so simple that sometimes people are like, no way, dude, really? I never even thought of that. But if you just throw the toy into a corner, usually they're going to come out of the corner, right? So unless they go to that corner to chew it now. So you just throw it opposite where they typically take it to chew if they have their favorite spot. And then as they're on their way to chew, great, here you go, dog, here's a treat. You know, grab your toy, do it again. And eventually you got a real nice fetch command without having to do a whole lot of work or effort to get there. It's pretty cool. But fetch is just a great way where they can play. Now, what's even better than fetch, in my opinion, because it might take a little bit more control, and it gives you a little bit more time in between. If the idea is you're giving your dog something to do so they're not bored, so you get something done. And so this would be the hide and seek. So what we'll do here, and hide and seek can be done several different ways, but in this version, I guess, here we would hide the toy somewhere, tell the dog stay, and then tell them go find it. Now, of course, you have to train for that. They don't usually know exactly what that is first time you do it. So you might start by hiding it somewhere they could see, which isn't really hiding it, but helping them until eventually you can hide that thing anywhere and they find it. But the harder you hide it, or the harder hiding location you find, the more tough you make it for them to find it. The longer they're looking for it, the more you're able to get something done while your dog's having fun. And that's the idea. You get something done while that dog's having fun. Because if not, that dog's going to get bored and start doing some incredible things. And you're going to be like, oh my gosh, dog, why are you doing that? It's just because they're bored. That's all. So when they're bored, they're bad. And when they're occupied, they're great. And when they're preoccupied, like when their mouth is preoccupied, let's say, on that food, much better, Bo. That was way less rude. Then we're able to pet them without getting nipped at all because, again, their mouth is preoccupied. It can't nip us and eat the food. Or, you know, in this case, they can't nip or, you know, hold on to the tug rope and eat the food. It's kind of impossible. So you really just kind of want to think, what can you do to keep them entertained so that they're not getting their entertainment out of driving you absolutely bonkers, which happens so often, Mr. Bo. And when I work with people, you know, I come to the home, they're like, oh gosh, this dog's just crazy. It's just running around. It's just, wow, that's because the dog's bored. It has no idea what it's supposed to do in your home. So you want to start teaching them what they're supposed to do in your home. So that way there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They know exactly what you expect of them. So this thing's a little big for him, but we'll just try it, see if he's into it at all. He's like, not so much. So whoop, there it goes. And then notice there's a gap in between. I'm not just offering stuff every 5 seconds. And then when you offer stuff, eventually they're like, you know what, I'll just take that, matter of fact, because I don't know, the next time they'll offer me something interesting. But the other trick to this is, you know, you want to give them stuff to do in between. So here I'm holding them, petting them, so you don't necessarily need to do something exactly. This is the doing something, you know, sitting here getting praised, and that works. But for a lot of these buggers, they just need a task. So here's a fun one where you just kind of balance the dog. Now this takes a while. He by no means could balance easily the very first time. It's been a while since I've seen him. This is the first time I've asked him to balance for me since I saw him recently. But, you know, doing this balance trick helps. It helps relax them, helps keep them calm. And then what's the reward for balancing? Well, okay, now you don't have to balance. Here you go, bud. You can sit up on my lap and feel like you're all in charge of me, because sometimes that's the signal of consent. Even though we're in control, we're petting, the fact they're sitting on us, can create for a lot of dogs the desire to want to protect and guard. And I just seen this play out in a session recently. I was just warning the person. I'm like, look, you got to be careful. So they were telling me how, the dog was doing good when there's people around, but, when it didn't want to interact, it'd just come and like kind of sit by them and kind of on them slightly. And so when a dog does this, sometimes it's a protective behavior. Sometimes they're seeking protection, but other times they want to protect you. And sometimes the one could lead to the other. So then later, the dog had got, around this person in the same similar way. And then it was like way more reactive once it took that position by its human. So you just want to watch. So we counteract things with a counterbalance. So instead of them being on us with paws on us, we get the paws off of us. See that? And just have them hang out and balance. Now, he does pretty well. Now, I took the arms away, so now he really has to focus. He was kind of like leaning his head to one side. There he goes. That's good. Good job, Mr. Bo. And then he can love him. Now, for a lot of dogs, when you first start doing this, they'll go completely stiff. And it takes a while to get to the point where they kind of, go limp like that. But the more you do it, the better they get. And just by having them on their backs, it does a world of great. What a fun game. Just put my dog on the back, try to balance him. Okay, we did it. And now pets and treats. So easy, so cool. That's a way you can interact with your dog without them driving you bonkers. All right, so here goes the food. He's not being rude, so he can go ahead and get some fun. Yeah, that's right, Mr. Bo. So, it's been a little while. We'll offer him his bone one more time and see if he's into it. I gave it a lick. Yeah. So if that happens, I might not offer that particular. That just so happens. I don't have many toys to select from right now. But if that happens, then okay, then we might not offer that one for a really long time. And then just offer like the rope or the tennis ball from here for a while. Because if you're offering that same one over and over again and they don't want it, it's really not building the desire to want it. It's just making it more like, yeah, whatever, I could care less. So that trick again is when it's there, as they're reaching for it, then pull it away and end it that way versus it they're sniffing it and then they're like, I don't want that. And then you take it away. That's not going to build the drive the way you want it to. Okay. You'll build it much quicker doing it the way I just prescribed. Is that making sense? Very cool. So what's some other really fun games you can play? Well, I love the come game. It's just so easy, or the recall, whatever you want to call it. But for me, dogs in the house, I'll tell them come. They're like, okay, cool. What's that? I'm clapping my hands, making a lot of noise. More excited you are, more likely your dog is to come if they don't know the come command right now, or if they know not to listen to it, help you out there too. Then when they get there, you make a big fuss, give them some snacks and love them. But then before you go, throw some food for them to go find, and you go hide or be somewhere else. So this is another spin on that hide and seek, all right? But you just go somewhere else. You don't have to necessarily hide at first. Then when they're done eating that food from over there, because you definitely don't want to call them yet while they're eating, they'll probably just keep eating. So when they're done eating, so don't throw too much food either, unless you're really trying to go far away. Then when they're done, call them again. That's right. You get all excited. Here they come. Hey, good job, dog. Here's some food. Okay, go find that food. And they're on their way. And you can do that as many times as you'd like, as many times as your dog is into it, so they're having fun while you can get something done. Now, where's you getting something done in between? So you could do this right from a chair even and just skip a step, right? Let's say you're working on a laptop or doing something, watching the Netflix, whatever that is. So you just throw that food, that dog goes and gets it. As soon as they're done eating, hey, come on, buddy. They come on back. You give them a snack. If you're really good, have them sit, stay or something in between. And then, you watch a couple minutes of the TV or type in a couple letters or click your mouse or whatever you're doing there. And then, okay, go get it. And you want to build, because like in the beginning, as soon as you call them back, you kind of want to throw it and reward them. But over time, you want to like stall a little bit, pretend like you're taking a little extra time to get, and then you're like fumbling with the treats. You don't want to be very natural. But the idea is, if you can get to that point where they're like, what the heck is going on here? This is fun. and go, you know what? If I just wait, we're going to keep having fun. Then you can build kind of like this stay command where your dog, you call them, they actually just sit there and wait for you to interact with them, which could be a commercial break. It could be, when your computer shuts down because you have too many tabs open, whatever it might be. But then guess what? Your dog's having fun while you're getting something done, even if it's Netflix or whatever you're doing. But that's the trick. You just want to give them things to do. You did right, Mr. Bo. Now, back to the leave it thing. It's kind of like hide and seek, just like a hair different. It's a little more challenging, but again, it allows me to do stuff. So I'm going to tell him to leave it. It's right here, dude. Leave it. And if he tries to take it, I'm just going to stop him. Just put a little pressure here like that. Good, leave it, Mr. Bo. And then I can talk to you. Guess where his focus is? My hand. Now I can open it and close it and really make things interesting over here. But again, the idea is he's interested in something. I'm getting something done, talking to you. He's entertained. And then I can reward when I feel like it, but I can buy myself time. Okay, Mr. Bo. Now, you don't want to take so much time in the beginning. The dog gets bored and runs away and finds something else to do. And it does take a little bit of teaching, leave it. Or you can just cheat like I am, right? Because I have him on my lap. Now, they have to have a depth perception, not want to jump off too. But, if I hold the food out here, leave it, he's going to have to jump, right, to go get it. So it's a little less likely. But if he does, I got this hand right here to help. And then you can move the hand in and out. And if they go to take it, you can say, not yet. Or whatever you say there. Right? But that from no touch to a quick touch, they're like, oops, did something wrong. Leave it, Mr. Bo. Good, leave it. Okay, go ahead, kid. Yeah, you got it. I know, it was just a single piece. And that's the other thing, too, is like you can reduce the amount of food it takes or that you use as your dog training becomes more efficient. It's like a more fuel-efficient vehicle, right? It just doesn't take as much fuel. Same amount gets you a lot further, or that idea. So for me, I might start out, just doing something real easy like this. Hey, leave it. Okay, you did. Here you go. And then doing it again. Hey, leave it. Okay, you did. Here you go. But eventually we're going to build like I'm doing right now, which is leave it, Mr. Bo. And then that food sits there. And then we're just hanging out, talking, having a good time. Now, what can happen, especially if it's just a single treat, there's not much for them to look at, right? So I'm just going to throw some more in there for a second, make the jackpot a little bit more awesome. But again, you can see the desire to want to get it. So, hey, not yet, Mr. Bo. Let him hang out. He's focused there. I'm focused here, but I'm not going to wait so long that he completely forgets what we're doing. I'm going to build to that eventually where I could sit here forever and him not care. Now there, me talking with my hands threw him off a little bit. Now look, he's back on track. So we'll say, okay, Mr. Bo. There you go. And then let's let him get a little bit. I'll pull that back out. He's still focused a little bit. All right. So there the head turned. He's like, what the heck, Jeff? So if things go south, you can always do a little something like that, get their attention back. But again, I'm writing, I'm making thesis, like whatever, you're getting stuff, cooking omelets, right? This is me flipping an egg or something. So refocusing. Good, leave it. Oh, up. Now, if this happens, you do two things. You can kind of slide that away like, oh, you're losing your ground, mister. Wow, this hand is stopping him. Good, leave it, Mr. Bo. Good, leave it. Oh, good, leave it, Mr. Bo. Okay, here you go, kid. Whoa. And if you're nervous at all that you might drop your pup or your dog, and you can always do this with a big dog, not on your lap, of course, but, do it over a couch or do it over the bed. Do it someplace soft where you don't have to have that worry or concern, all right? Because it's a thing. You definitely don't want to drop a little bugger like this. No way, dude. No way. So when you give your dog stuff to do, and you play the game, because to them, it's just life's pretty much a game for these buggers most of the time, unless they go to that like life or death, survival of the fittest kind of thing, must run for my life or fear, flight, whatever, they do that sometimes. But like outside of that moment, most of the time they're just looking to have fun. Most breeds, most dogs. And so the way we do that is we're going to provide the fun for them so they're not driving us nuts. Then it keeps them sane, because part of the reason they drive us nuts in the first place, they're bored, they're going insane, they don't know what to do, so they start giving us all sorts of stuff to do. So here's the thing. Listening, that's cool. But doing, that's where the magic happens. You just want to start doing this stuff. Don't just listen to it. Start implementing so you can actually get results. Now, if you need more help and you want to go further, make sure you check out our membership, Canine Connect 360. It's awesome. We have a bunch of fur parents in there that have worked through these similar problems or just starting out and have these issues. But the idea of this group is, hey, not only am I there to help you, the other members are there to help you too, and they can help you through their experience, right? Which is pretty awesome. And they have all sorts of great ideas sometimes, things I don't even think of, you know? I remember it was just a couple days ago, someone had mentioned something that just completely had slipped my mind and not even think to say that to the person I was coaching. And I'm like, hey, anybody else have something to say to this person? Like, oh, yeah, about this thing. And I'm like, oh, my gosh, completely forgot. So that's the cool part about the group is everybody's there, super helpful and willing to support each other and happy to do it because we want to celebrate your success. But if you're interested, check out Ask JTDT. That is Jeff the dog trainer. And there's a .com. So askjtdt.com/CC360. And then you can find that page. And if you want to give it a shot, do. You're going to absolutely love it. And there's also content inside waiting for you. So it's not just live sessions where you get help and coaching and fun stuff, but there's also a whole bunch of content in there to help you with things like the jumping, the nipping, the barking, the counter surfing, the leash pulling, dog reactivity, fear, all sorts of fun, good stuff is inside, just waiting for you. So check that out if you'd like. And I cannot wait to hear about your success and see you next time. But here's the deal. Just remember, keep your dog having fun so they're not driving you nuts and so that they're staying sane too. But use those games to help keep them sane. Is that making sense? All right, Mr. Bo, tell them bye-bye. See you guys later. Look, Bo, look right there. Good. Say bye-bye. Good job, buddy. This dog's so fun. All right, kiddos. I will talk to you soon as I remember how to shut this thing off. I think it's this button. And I think I got a giant bow hair on my nose now. Huh. Yeah. You're like one of those shedless breeds, kinda. Sorta, kinda. You still shed a little bit. I guess humans are shedless too, but we also shed hair. So, you know, what are you going to do? Just part of the game of having the doggy is just accepting the hair. Is that right, Bo? It is. Does Bo kind of remind you of someone from Star Wars, perhaps? If you look at him close enough. Bo, go ahead and show them. Go ahead and show him, Bo. Who does Bo remind you of? Now, don't mind this. He was just neutered recently. So he's got like a little poodle paw going on. But he normally, it looks like this paw. He's not claiming any gang or anything. That's not at all what he's doing here. That was just from a neutering. The hair didn't really go back yet. I guess the vet did a very good job of cutting that hair short. So anyhow, though, but I think it maybe, what are those little things called? A Wookiee? You could pass for a Wookiee, dude. I'm just saying. You know. All right.